Let's bring in former acting White House Chief of Staff for President Trump, Mick Mulvaney, and also former senior aide for Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, Chris Hahn. Gentlemen, good to have you this morning. Both, of course, are our NewsNation political analysts. Chris, let me start with you this morning on this one. This poll shows Trump with the narrowest lead over a GOP competitor that we have seen to date. Nikki Haley trailing by 15 points. She and other candidates have consistently been 30 to 40 points behind. How do you interpret these numbers? Is this a sign that more voters are souring on the former president?
I think that she's well within striking distance in New Hampshire, and given the fact that she just got the endorsement of their very popular governor, Mr. Sununu, who comes with it a great organization in New Hampshire that can help pull out the vote for her on a cold January night in New Hampshire. It is very possible that she could draw blood on Trump in New Hampshire. And once he is beaten, that air of invincibility will disappear from him. And perhaps many Republicans will see what Nikki Haley and others have been saying, that this man is dangerous not only for the Republican Party, but for the Republic itself. And he needs to be stopped. And hopefully she'll be able to do that.
Mick, what say you? You know, speaking of Governor Sununu's endorsement, we have the governor on the program tomorrow morning. Is her latest boost here indicative of how much weight his backing carries? And do you agree? Is she within striking distance, and will she continue to gain ground on President Trump?
Yeah, I'm not sure she's within striking distance. 15 points is still fairly significant. But the Sununu endorsement is going to help. Keep in mind, it takes about a week to put together these polls. So most of this poll was actually done before the very popular governor, Chris Sununu, endorsed Nikki Haley. So it's possible that her numbers as we sit here and talk are actually a little bit better in New Hampshire. So that's good news for her all the way around. I do think, however, Markie, Chris, you got to look at one thing, which is who did they poll? Other places in the poll, they asked people, how conservative are you? How MAGA are you? In Florida, more than 40% of the people who were polled said they were MAGA. In New Hampshire, it was less than a third. Independents can vote in the New Hampshire primary. It may be that they picked up a lot of those independents and not traditional Republican voters in those numbers for Nikki Haley.
Yeah, I know the CBS poll surveyed 855 registered voters in New Hampshire and then just over 1,000 in Iowa for the specific polls we're talking about. And Mick, just a quick follow-up for you. Is New Hampshire a game changer if Haley comes even within a few points of the former president?
Absolutely. Keep in mind the top line number is very different between the two states. Iowa's at 58% for Donald Trump. Yeah. New Hampshire is 44%. That is a dramatic difference. If Trump is below 50% in any of these early states, that shows weakness on his part. As long as he's polling above 50%, we're just having a conversation now about who might come in second. But if he drops below 50%, and it's a two-person race or even a three-person race, he's very much at risk.
Yeah. Chris, that same poll shows Haley in third place, as we've mentioned, behind Trump and DeSantis in Iowa. In your eyes, why do you think it is that support for Haley didn't translate to the Hawkeye state? And is President Trump's lead there now insurmountable at this point?
It looks like he's going to run away with Iowa after losing it, by the way, in 2016. I think he's got a solid lead there. I think that the governor of Iowa's support for DeSantis has helped him into second place, but it hasn't done enough to make a difference. Trump will likely win Iowa. Of course, Iowa is a caucus state, so getting your people out, having an organization on the ground, which DeSantis seems to have a very strong ground game in Iowa, which could make a difference there. But I'm dubious given how big Trump's lead is if that'll be the case. But New Hampshire, again, and Mick pointed to this, independents can vote in the primary in New Hampshire. There is a very strong governor there who has a huge organization that has been winning that state by big numbers for many years. I think Nikki Haley is within striking distance. I think that Mick is also right, that the poll is not taking into account the Sununu endorsement and what has happened over the last week. And I'm looking forward to an early January poll that might show her even closer.
Yeah, and Mick, let me give you the last word since Chris brought up DeSantis there and kind of his all-in approach in Iowa. He completed, that 99-county tour of the state earlier this month. But this new poll comes as one of his top strategists resigns from the DeSantis super PAC called Never Back Down. This makes for another high-profile departure from his campaign. Is that all in on Iowa strategy falling apart for him?
No, it's not really. Keep in mind, when you're a politician, who your strategists are really doesn't make that much of a difference. It counts. There's no question about it. But Ron DeSantis is still Ron DeSantis. What I think you're seeing, Markie, is this, is that DeSantis looks to be finishing second in Iowa. Nikki Haley, unless there's something dramatic, finishes a close second in New Hampshire. That means effectively you're taking three people into Super Tuesday. Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley. It's probably the way that things will shake out. You're done with Vivek Ramaswamy. You're done with Chris Christie unless there's a dramatic change in New Hampshire. That's the real story here. It's a three-person race going into Super Tuesday.
All right. Well, our crews will be there just about a month from now. Chris Hahn, Mick Mulvaney, thanks as always.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.